What's up, everybody? It's me, King Kai PhD. I'm back with another video, and in today's video we're doing another real or fake reaction. And today we're doing something a little different. Today we reacted to my mom implanted a chip in my head to keep an eye on me. Yeah, so we're gonna see if this is real or fake. So let's just get started.
Hi, my name is Clarice. Tell me, have you ever felt like someone was following you?
Nah.
Actually, who's that behind you right now? Turn around. No one? I must have been imagining things again. Damn it. This is paranoia.
Don't ever do that again, bud. Don't ever do that again, okay? I genuinely thought something was behind me. I turn around, it's just a poster behind me, okay? Don't ever scare me like that on my YouTube video ever again, okay? This is why you got a chip implanted in your brain. You know what? Let's continue, okay?
Paranoia. I always feel like someone is watching me. You think it's all in my head? Don't jump to conclusions so quickly. Listen to my story, and you'll find out how one becomes a nervous wreck for life. I was an only child, and my mother doted on me. She surrounded me with too much care and attention. I had never seen my father. Mom said he had left when I was still just a baby. Maybe that's why she was always so worried for me. Since I was born, I had a security camera in my room, so she would always know what I was doing. As time passed, I was growing up, and my mother kept worrying more and more. She had an important position at work and spent all the time there. To keep tabs on me, she kept calling and asking why she couldn't see me on security cameras. I was so sick of it. I couldn't go to the bathroom without my mother knowing about it.
Dang, bro,
She was
like, can't do nothing? You're in your own house, you can't do nothing? How bored do you have to be at work to just keep a tab on your child 24/7? I promise you, kids don't even really be doing nothing when they're at home. Like, they just be chilling. Like, there's no point of like having security cameras all around the house to watch your kid. Like, all they're gonna do is just play with their toys and watch TV, bro. Eat some food. That's it, bro. Kids don't really be doing a bunch of stuff like that.
True tyrant. I ended up fighting with her. I told her I just couldn't take it anymore. It felt like she was always watching me. That's when my mother turned thoughtful. She said I was right and that she was sorry. She kept forgetting I was all grown up already. My mother promised that she wouldn't babysit me so much anymore. And you know what? She kept her promise. All the security cameras were gone from our house. And she stopped calling me every half hour. Soon, the best time of year came around. Vacations. I spent a lot of time with my friends. Oddly enough, my mother completely stopped bothering me with her care. She let me go to parties and sleepovers with my friends. More than that, she would go on business trips and leave me by myself, no problem. She didn't even call to ask me if I was all right. One time, I was invited to a cool party. Of course, I told my mother that I wanted to go. She didn't try to stop me, just told me to be careful. There were a lot of new guys at the party. We were having fun, and I even met a guy. His name was Quentin. He was studying to become a movie director at the Institute of Modern Art, and knew a lot about cinema. I was so interested in him. Let's be honest. I liked him. I was hoping he liked me back. After the party, he offered to walk me to his car. I agreed, even though I knew I was supposed to go home a long time ago. But my mom was on a business trip, and I thought she wouldn't find out if I was a little late. We were sitting in Quentin's car and chatting happily. He was telling me the most amazing screenplays he could think of. We'd been sitting there for about an hour when my phone rang. It was my mother. Heck. I answered the phone and quickly told my mother that I was already near the house coming up to the door. To which my mother sharply replied, "Why are you lying? You're sitting with some guy in a beige Tesla 5 miles from the home." I got scared. I had never heard her speak as cold or harsh. Besides, how had she found out about all that? I began to feel like I was being watched again. I looked out of the car, but there was no one around. So I asked Quentin to take me home at once.
Hey, bro, I don't know, bro. Maybe Quentin might have something to do with this, bro. How'd she know that you were in a, how'd she know that? How'd she know that you were in a Tesla Model 3 beige 2017 Model 3 car and 244 Woodside Drive? How'd she know that? I don't know, bro. You might have to look up for Quentin, because kinda suspicious.
I spent all night turning what had happened with my mother over in my head. The next day, she returned home from her business trip and smiled as if nothing had happened. I asked her if she was watching me again. My mother replied, "Of course not." But how could she have known about Quentin in the car? My mother said that she had simply guessed, that she just had a hunch. She also asked me to never lie to her again. It was all very strange. A few days later, I met Quentin for a walk and told him that something wasn't right with my mother. Quentin was surprised and said that it all sounded like a script of a cool thriller. How could my mother have possibly guessed everything? Yeah, she could have assumed that I would be with a guy, but how did she know the make of the car, or how far from home we were? Quentin said that something wasn't adding up. He asked if
Quentin,
anything
it's you!
unusual had happened to me as of late. I thought about it and remembered a strange incident. Not so long before that, I went to the dentist, Mr. Schwartz. My wisdom tooth was coming out, and I needed a small surgery. Mr. Schwartz was our family doctor, and I had visited him before. However, on that visit, for some reason, there was another doctor instead of him. He said his name was Dr. Smith, and that he was filling in for Mr. Schwartz, who had urgently left for a conference. I thought it was strange, but still sat down in the chair. Dr. Smith
First
took care of the
mistake,
tooth, but for some reason it took a little longer than expected. I couldn't see what he was doing to my teeth. When Quentin heard my story about Dr. Smith, he jumped up and said he understood everything. While Dr. Smith was taking care of my teeth, he also implanted an electronic chip into my head. My mother had definitely sent him. And now, with the chip, she could track me wherever I was. It sounded unrealistic, but I thought about it some more. This theory explained everything. Besides, I still didn't know where my mother actually worked. Anyway, I believed Quentin. It made me feel even worse. How could my mother have treated me like that? Like I was a guinea pig and not her own daughter.
Oh, crap.
In the evening, I had a serious talk with my mother. I told her I knew everything about the chip in my head and the surveillance. My mother was surprised and said I was imagining everything, that there were no such things, and that if I behaved like that, she would send me to a psychiatric clinic.
Oh, crap.
She tried to convince me that it was all just fears in my head, but I didn't believe her. The next day, Quentin and I went to a medical center where I asked for a computer diagnosis of my head. An old doctor in glasses told me not to worry and that he would definitely notice if there was anything wrong with me. He ran some tests and found nothing. The pictures didn't show any foreign bodies in my head. The old doctor smiled at me and said I'd been worried for nothing. When we walked out of the medical center, Quentin assumed that the chip wasn't electrical, but biological, like a virus. That's why the scanner hadn't seen it. Quentin said that he'd heard of chips like that, secretly developed by the military. They were implanted in human bodies like viruses to monitor them. It seemed he was right.
Stop lying, Quentin. Bro, you're just gonna say anything so you could get in there, bro. You just want to hit, bro. Like you do not care about what you got going on, bro. You just want to get some of Clarissa or whatever her name is. So you just say whatever. Come on, bro. Let's be honest here, bro. I saw what you were gripping on after the party, bro. You ain't slick, okay?
What did my mother do after all? How could she have access to such technologies? That's when I decided to investigate and find out the truth myself. Of course, Quentin agreed to help.
Of course he is.
He followed my mother and found out where she worked. At night,
he's
when
gonna-
she was asleep,
Wait.
I got out of the house, and Quentin and I went to investigate. We snuck into the building my mother had been leaving and began to look around. Strangely enough, that place looked like some kind of creepy secret lab. What were they doing there? We didn't have enough time to figure it all out when we heard an alarm go off. We'd been discovered. Guards were running down the corridor. "Hurry up," Quentin shouted. I grabbed some box with documents and we ran. We managed to get out of the building somehow. We jumped into the car and sped away. I was upset we hadn't found anything out, but I was glad we hadn't been caught. All of a sudden, Quentin said we were being followed. I saw a car with security guards chasing us. Quentin slammed the gas pedal, and we sped even faster. After a few kilometers, our pursuers fell behind us. But we didn't stop and drove on. Soon, we were out of the city and racing down the highway into a desert. Morning came, and we
Bro,
were
how
still
is
driving.
Tesla still got
We were
battery?
afraid to turn back, but it was even scarier to stay in the dark. Who is my mother? And what had she done to me? I picked up the box I'd taken from her work and started to look through the documents. There were all sorts of reports, when suddenly, hold on, what was it? I saw my name in one of the documents. It couldn't be. The document said that my mother was not my birth mother. She'd adopted me when I was very young. It was a blow to me. I began to cry and I showed Quentin my terrible find. He calmed me down and told me that everything was all right. At some point, he got distracted from the road, and our car suddenly skidded and flipped over.
What? What? How do you, bro? You're in the middle of nowhere on the highway. What did you get? You're a horrible driver. What did you get hit by? You just skid in the, like, does the Tesla, bro, it has cruise control, has autopilot. How does that even happen? Okay, bud. Low key, guys. I don't think this is real, bro. This is real. Not gonna lie.
When I came to, Quentin had already pulled me out of the car and was shaking me to wake up.
You
The
skidded
Tesla was
okay,
lying in
bro.
a ditch with its wheels up.
How?
Quentin was apologizing for having lost control of it. I looked around. It was desert
There's
all around
there's
for
nothing
miles.
there.
Yeah, we were safe after the accident, but what were we supposed to do next? Quentin wanted to call for help, but we were so far away that there was simply no service. We were stuck in the middle of a desert, and no one knew where we were. I was sitting in the scorching sun thinking, why had it all happened? I'd been adopted, but what did that have anything to do with the chip in my head? There were more and more puzzles. What if there was no chip? What if I was making it all up and no one was really watching me? The thought scared me. If that was the case, no one would find us, and we would stay in the desert forever. Before I knew it, tears.
What if this whole story is just made up? She says she's making all this up. Maybe she is. Maybe this whole story's made up. Because it's not clicking. It's not making any sense, bro. Let's continue.
Were running down my face. Several hours had passed. We were hiding from the sun in the shadow of the overturned car. Suddenly,
Y'all coulda flipped
Quentin
that.
jumped to his feet and began to wave his arms.
Several
I looked
hours,
back
y'all
and
coulda
saw a
flipped
car approaching us. We weren't alone, and we were going to be saved. The car pulled up, and out came my mother. I couldn't believe my
course.
eyes. She looked
course it was
so
her.
angry. She told me to get in the car. I felt scared, but I did as she told me to. She left Quentin in the desert. He stood and watched in surprise as we drove away. And
Why'd she do that, bro? Dang, bro, she just left. I guess Quentin isn't a mole. If she just gonna leave him, that's crazy. She really just left. Yeah, he's definitely dead.
that's my whole story. We were driving back. The woman I used to call my mother was silent. Next to me lay a box of documents, which she had also taken away. I saw photos among the documents. My mother was there, conducting some experiments with other employees from the lab.
Isn't that the
Wait a minute.
the
Why did
doctor?
that man's face look so familiar to me? Hold on. It couldn't be. Dr. Smith? What was going on? And there was the old doctor who'd run my computer diagnosis of my head. I couldn't believe it. It had all been set up. When we got home, my mother began to act as if nothing had happened. Again. I locked myself in my room, and I couldn't stop thinking. Was the chip truly in my head? Maybe had I been adopted so they could conduct experiments on me? How was I supposed to treat my mother now? I was completely lost. I need your help. What should I do? Your comments below will help me.
What? What am I supposed to do? What? I'm just a viewer, bro. This is your life. I'm just reacting to it. Why do you think I'm about to do something? Talking about some I need your help. What? Like, I don't know, call the police. Like, call the police from another state. Do something, bro. And even if I don't even know who you are. I don't even know if that's your real name. I don't even know where you live. Like, I have no circumference of where you could be at. And even if I did help, right? This video was posted 4 years ago. So if nobody did anything, she's dead. All right, guys. So for the overall question, is this video real? It's fake. Okay, this video is so fake. First of all, the timeline doesn't even make sense, okay? And this girl is not smart at all. First of all, she meets up with this dude. She get in the car. She knows, even if the mom knew that she was with a dude, how did she know the model of the car? Even if she had a chip implanted in her brain, she wouldn't know that. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. Also, the Tesla was driving for a whole night. No, the Tesla would have ran out of battery. They skid and fall in the desert. How do you no? This is fake, okay? This is fake. Fake, okay? I mean, she said in the comment section below, you know, if anybody could help her, tell her what to do. So, I mean, let's see what people in the comments said. All right. Somebody said, you should notify the police. Why absolutely magnificent. It took a whole random person in the comment section for her to figure that out. Wow. Yeah, you know what? I think it's best for her to keep that chip implanted in her brain because, like, you're not really thriving in life to not know to do something like that. But that's it for the video, man. Subscribe.
Don't get a chip implanted in your head, and, yeah, this is fake, bro. Goodbye.